Hello and welcome to my outsourcing presentation on why Carhartt manufacturing must remain in the United States for company success. Bottom right hand corner, you will see an American woman making a Carhartt jacket in one of their 4 factories based in the United States. You may ask, what is Carhartt? Now, Carhartt is a workwear clothing brand created by Hamilton Carhartt back in 1889, which is in the 19th century, which is over 100 years ago. He started this in a small setup in a Detroit loft with 2 sewing machines and a 1/2 horsepower electric motor. He started all this off of the simple problem from railroad workers needing a better coverall that fit their needs, was more comfortable, durable, warm. And after many failed designs, Hamilton struck gold and was able to make the best coverall and really satisfied these railroad workers, which made the company take off. Hamilton operated by a simple motto: honest value for an honest dollar. He was a very righteous man. He wanted to treat his workers with respect because a happy worker is a productive worker. And he didn't want to overwork his workers. He stood very firmly by the 8-hour workday, 40-hour work week, unlike many manufacturers in the 19th and 20th century who made their workers pull 60 to 70 hours a week. And that was their normal. That is very inhumane. And in the bottom right, you can see the very righteous man who created Carhartt and his very famous quotes that he says. And you may ask, what makes Carhartt an all-American brand? Well, Carhartt supported both World War I and World War II efforts by offering up factories to make uniforms, made coveralls for the soldiers to keep them warm, made jungle suits for the Marines fighting in the Pacific in World War II, keep them protected from the jungle and the very harsh environment. And on top of that, Carhartt has straddled the political divide in modern America by not making political ads. They just make ads based on hard work and honesty, which every American basically can stand behind. Unlike Nike, who's swinging certain parts of the spectrum, or let's say Levi's, Carhartt's standing right there in the middle. Both sides of the political spectrum go straight to Carhartt for clothing. They source all their materials domestically. You wearing a Carhartt product, you know you have something from America on you. You got your fasteners, you got your sliders, you got your cotton, all sourced east of the Mississippi. Everything in Carhartt is from America, and that is part of what Carhartt stands for. Now, you may be wondering, where does Carhartt stand for now? Well, they are the top workwear brand in America. They're worn by all types of people, not just blue-collar workers. You may ask, why is that? Well, back in the 80s and a little bit in the 70s, hip-hop artists started wearing them, and it became very hip to wear Carhartt. So it blew up into the mainstream culture, and you got your millennial hipsters, you got your artists, you got your average office worker, you got your friendly neighborhood drug dealer on the street corner wearing the Carhartt jackets because they're warm, they have a lot of pockets, and they just are functional. Carhartt also has a designer brand called WIP, which stands for Work in Progress, which is very popular in Europe, making trendy skater-like products. All right, that was a licensing agreement back in the late 80s and 90s by some Swiss denim specialists who wanted to make Carhartt a little bit special. Carhartt still has 4 factories based in Kentucky and Tennessee. Now, human cost of Chinese manufacturing if Carhartt outsources to China. On the left, you see a poor Chinese man who was working in a factory, skewered by a machine arm, which fell on him due to very poor working conditions. And that is a very sad fact that happens too much in China. On the right, you'll see suicide nets placed on an apple factory. Workers in China are way too overworked. They're depressed. They're unhappy. They don't like their life. So many of them kill themselves, and it's very, very upsetting to know that. And why would you support a company that has their workers kill themselves? Another human cost of Chinese manufacturing is these workers are paid a slave wage. The average Chinese worker makes $1.36 an hour. That's not even what the federal minimum wage is in America. It's nowhere near it. These Chinese workers work an average of 12 hours. That's the equivalent of clocking in at 7 a.m., working this entire day and clocking out at 7 p.m. That's not the 9 to 5 dream that we see in America. And on top of that, Chinese workers' rights, they're slim to none. They have very bad conditions. They get sick. They're mistreated. They don't even have a solid job because sometimes they're sourced in from temporary agencies, so they sometimes don't even get medical benefits. On top of that, American companies lose product rights sometimes if they don't sign the proper business contracts. They don't sign a non-disclosure agreement. If they don't have their contracts reviewed by a lawyer and written in Mandarin and in compliance of Chinese law so those contracts can be legally enforced. And many times, very nice and very ingenious products have been lost to Chinese manufacturers because those inventors and companies did not follow the proper steps to getting the contracts written. On top of that, we have the environmental costs of Chinese manufacturing. Everybody knows we have smog problems in China. On the left, you have this man wearing a respirator to protect himself from the smog, his own air. This isn't even from COVID-19 in China. This picture was taken in 2015. It's very sad that people have to live in these conditions due to the poor environmental protections. On top of that, the shipping industry contributes 1 billion tons of greenhouse gas emissions per year. And that is a serious contributor to global warming. Now, to American manufacturing. We've lost 5 million jobs since 2000 to Chinese manufacturers. And that's because of the cheap labor. Now, we have strong labor unions to protect our workers. It's just more humane to manufacture American. Now, yes, our average American manufacturer makes $56,000 a year, which is a very, very good middle-class job. And sometimes that's more than an elementary school teacher who sometimes needs a master's degree in a very costly college education. Now, you may ask, why American? Now, if you buy American and manufacture an American, you're going to be supporting the American economy because you buy an American product, you're paying an American to build it, meaning he's going to pay taxes to the American government. That manufacturing plant's going to pay taxes to the American government. That's going to fund social services. That's going to help homeless and disabled veterans. That's going to just boost the economy, keep the money in America. On top of that, we have great environmental protections. Unlike what many people think, we have very good protections. And that keeps us healthy, the air clean, and everything is just a lot more greener. And the earth's happier when we manufacture in a green way. On top of that, shipping cost is reduced. You don't need to pay a boat. You don't need to pay tariffs. You don't need to pay for shipping insurance. And you don't need to pay for a lot of fuel. You'll be able to pay a truck driver. He'll get it across the country in a couple of days, unlike possibly weeks on a cargo ship from China. This creates a lot more jobs for like truck drivers, pilots, UPS, mail deliverers, retail workers. It just helps boost the economy even more. Now, may I ask, it is cheaper to manufacture in China. Why doesn't Carhartt do it? Because Carhartt's roots are in America and deep patriotism, honesty, and integrity. There is nothing honest about a Chinese man getting injured at work and getting paid horribly and overworked. It's just not right. Carhartt supports its workers and should treat them well, and that's why it needs to stay in America. and my works cited pages. And thank you for coming to my presentation.